to the Echo Whisperer.
I have it.
I'm trying to sense it out for the people at home all the time. You know,
I have
like
it every time at
with
home.
trains
Jason.
coming. He does have a stand, Jason. He does always have a stand at home. Yeah, you put your head down not next to the tracks. That seems a little bit dangerous.
That's a little dangerous.
But you've seen it in movies.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. You've seen it in movies before. You know what's going on there. I just had to chew gum before coming and talking with you guys, as if you were going to actually have to smell my breath.
Did you feel like your breath? Did you feel like your breath wasn't adequate for a conversation?
Well, I'd already had a nice coffee. Like I brushed my teeth. You know, I've been up, I've had a shower, I've done everything I need to do.
Yeah.
But I was just like, if I'm going to be talking for a while, we need to get the mouth feeling correct. But
you don't
now
want
I
to
have
be
another
coffee
iced coffee.
Fumes. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to be going from chewing gum back into coffee.
Yeah, there's nothing worse, is there?
So like I'm in
juice,
this conundrum.
Toothpaste and orange
Or
juice.
if you ever
is
had a
worse.
drink after chewing gum, tastes like shit.
Toothpaste
you don't want
and
that.
orange juice, man, that'll break your brain. I'm double
Doesn't normally
fisting
go
as
too
well,
well.
Chad. I have a coffee from your lovely
Yeah.
place in Cologne. You know it, you love it. And
Yeah.
then I have a smoothie, but as you mentioned, the smoothie. Actually, I don't know why we're fucking talking about this. I actually have something I wanted to talk about today. I brought something to the class. Chad, this is mostly directed at you because I have a question.
No.
No, it's fine. It's not anything bad. You're going to enjoy it.
It feels aggressive already. Why are we starting here, Jason? Come on,
We
man.
couldn't catch up like for
I
5
haven't
minutes.
even taken my vitamins yet.
Guys, we caught up in the last episode. I'm going to see you guys in 2 days. We don't need to do any catching up today. I want to know this public ledger, Chad, the purpose of this channel. I think we need to give this we need to give this a little bit of direction for the people, because I feel like, you know, because the way that you briefly
It was
said
simple.
You
see
want
a
it to be
big
frag
highlight.
clips. Yeah.
You see a big highlight, you see a drama that happens of the event, and there's some type of clip of it. You see something that in the moment feels like in review at the end of the year, it's going to matter. It's going to be part of the conversation. It's going to be something that we remember, that we reflect upon. Either it was influential in the game or outside of the game. The public ledger is meant to be a place where the meeting of the minds of Talking Counters Discord come together to determine as a democracy what needs to go into that channel. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it highlight worthy? Is it drama worthy? If there was a TMZ magazine, is it going in it? Right? Is it on the 9 News at 6 p.m.?
Okay.
Is it making a change that the people come the conclusion of 2026 will look back and say, guys, we did a good job. What we upheld here, what we put in is only premium stuff that matters to the game. That's what I wanted, Jason.
Perfect.
That's
like
what I wanted.
All right. On that note, I created a frag movie of all the clips that were put into the public ledger channel during the entirety of Cluj-Napoca. So these are the clips during the 10 weeks. Or the 10 days, not weeks. 10 days or
10
so.
weeks. That's a long
Yeah, I
event.
know. That's
Yeah,
a long
I
fucking
remember
event.
being there for 10 weeks.
That's a long one.
Didn't
I've
feel
shared
like
it. I've shared it on Riverside if you guys want to tune in.
This has got nothing to do. This has got
I
nothing
know.
to do with what
I know. This is just the dates of Cluj-Napoca. This is the channel that you've created with no direction. I haven't used the audio. I didn't know if that was going to cause any problems, so I just didn't fucking use it. This was cool. Nice little clutch in the upper bomb site. You guys haven't seen the real magic
Doesn't
yet.
even win the round, bro.
You haven't even
win
seen
the round.
You haven't seen the magic yet, Chad.
I know the clip. I watched it.
Oh,
It's after time. He doesn't even win the round.
I know, but that's crazy. Through 2
So
balls.
is that it? Is that all that's in here?
No, that was the first. That was the first.
The first clip of the guy cheating, yeah.
Yeah, potentially cheating, allegedly cheating.
Now we're getting a replay.
Yeah, it's the replay. I just ripped it off Reddit. You know, like, come on, man. There's production value here. If we start doing things too good, people are going to get
Bro,
weirded
fucking
out.
Jax is in the server. You can't believe it. Fucking
he's
bow
partying.
up. Copping
here
it
we
right
go.
there.
We like this one.
Okay, this was cool. Yeah, this was
cool.
good.
I tried to do this in like a ranking system, you know? So this is the lowest of the PGL Cluj clips that we have.
Well,
Nice
what
little
was the
ninja
first
defuse.
one? Yeah.
First
Apex
one was
did
just
say
there.
check arch.
Yeah.
You know?
Did say check arch. Sons of bitches.
Is
How
this like
did
any
he pull
mini
this
game
off
that's
in
going to
an
be on the
arena,
show
man?
or something? Like what's happening? Is this a new segment? It's a weekly segment.
I just thought I'd bring in a frag movie because this is what the ledger could be. It could be a cool frag movie, but what I'm trying to get at here is that we don't know what this is for. Like, we could actually turn this into something cool.
Didn't I? I
like
thought I just
I know.
I just let everyone know what it's for.
Moving forward, it could be great.
But this is a good ace from Carrigan. Like the fact that Finn is getting an ace is huge. I think also the fact it's against Paravision, but I don't want to get talking into phase B and shits. I'm just talking about the highlight. I don't want to get dragged into the convo. But this is a nice little ace by Mr. Anderson, right?
Chad,
It's obviously quite drawn out.
You're fucking walking into that conversation all on your own. You're just edging closer and closer.
I'm not edging, Jason. No more. Last one's this knife out in his hand. Okay, great. We loved it. We enjoyed it. What else we got?
It's great, yeah. Well, there's
Such a long clip,
minute.
man.
I know.
Don't give me highlights of this.
Well,
I've already seen it.
yeah.
Here we
okay.
go. This one's
is
good.
Nice. Yeah, this is great.
It's crazy how Spinks pulls a nade and he just gets both of them. And of course, useless Jimmy can't even trade the guy who's on a Glock at the time.
Are we going to be able to show the people at home this?
Yeah, I'm putting it in the. I'm going to edit.
Okay,
it.
good.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I was going to say if this wasn't in there,
Yeah,
I
it'd be a
don't
little
know
bit
that
weird.
they
This would be a tough stretch for the podcast.
It'd be
for
stop start, especially that.
Oh,
And
this
that's
was insane.
Chad, you really
That's
that one
juiced.
really got your Jimmy's rustled, didn't it?
well, mate. When you win in a clutch round like that, it's fucking juicy, isn't it? And
Yeah,
there was
it's
actually some
Sublime
resistance.
from the divine.
Everyone loved it. That's fucking going nuts in the audience, having a great time.
That's
I was
such a
pulling off this
wild-
nonsense.
Oh,
It's a 4K in the round. It's great.
The best thing
Yeah,
is like
that's
in
it.
this final, he didn't even like do much up until this moment. Like, were there really memorable moments from Zaiwu up until this? Like, that's how much they were cruising in that grand final.
Yeah, well, they had their way with them for sure. Boys, I can't get straight into that. I need to
No,
look.
no,
It's good. I
warm up.
like that. And look, maybe that can become a mini game on the show. Do you guys play the timeline game on HLTV on the daily? Are you
I
guys?
have. I
not
don't.
the
I don't play
daily.
it on the daily. I have played
Okay.
it.
All right.
Do you play it on
I'll
the
give a
daily?
go. Yeah, you know, sometimes good, sometimes it's the first like real thing I do before I commit to the day. And it's like if I get 5 out of 5, I'm gonna have a good day. If not, I'm like, well, I have to now. My knowledge.
Oh, your
it's-
day is immediately
it's
ruined.
all over,
like,
yeah. They've got that one, but I reckon we should build. Do you guys know the game 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, I do.
No.
Okay.
I do. It's like
Okay, so 6.
yeah. Go on, Chad.
It's a parlor game, Yanko, not parlor like a parlor, a PARLOR, right? Like you know what I'm saying? All right, good, you're with me. It's where players challenge each other to choose an actor whom they connect to another actor via film in which both actors appeared. This
Okay.
is repeated to try and find the shortest path that leads to the prolific actor Kevin Bacon, right? So
All right.
Kevin Bacon's always the destination, and because he's an actor that's been in so much shit, like you're able to do it with all the actors out there. So,
So
I
who's the
reckon we
Kevin
come up-
Bacon of Counter Strike?
I was thinking, is it Carrigan? Is it
Ooh.
Nico?
Those are both good shouts. Those are both good shouts.
Has to be someone
feel
still
like-
going now.
I feel like it'd be like a role player, wouldn't it? Who's just been fucking like Dupree would be a good one.
But Dupree was with the Danes for a lot of the time, right? And I think that we either base it off of someone who's been in a lot of teams, or we just base it on someone who's been in the game for a long time. Because all we'd do is like, all right, well, let's say that we made it. I don't know. Let's say we made it Apex. Okay, well, you have to. So the 6 degrees means you're doing it within 6 movies. So let's say like we wanted to get a player to Apex, we'd have to do it within. Would it be 6 teams, right? Would we do less degrees?
It'd have to be
would
like
we be
because
working with?
would it be like teammates? Would you like connect through teammates? Or would it have to? Yeah, 6 teams. I guess.
How would you get like
Who are we trying to get to
Fuck, I don't
Apex?
know.
Who are we trying to get to
Do-
Apex? Give a name.
Dozier to Apex?
Doja to Apex.
Well, that's just 0 degrees, I guess.
They played with the Overdrive team.
Yeah,
Dozier in
they
that one.
played
Okay,
in
that's a bad
Nostalgia.
one.
Okay. Well,
So we
yeah,
need-
great. We killed it. We're fucking awesome at this game.
We're nailing it.
Edward to Apex.
I want to say Edward was also on that same team, but maybe not. I'm not 100% sure about that.
Let's see. Edward.
But
Did Edward play with Dozier? Because then that's
Yeah, he
stupid.
did in
Okay,
Astana
see?
Dragons.
Son of Dragons.
See this. Now this game's fucked, right? It's not a good start, but maybe we can come up with something where
Well, maybe
No, but it's
like
got the bones. It's got the bones. of
maybe
a
you
good
can
game.
go like Fallen and Dosia, right?
Okay, yeah, that's more interesting. Like 2 Fallen or 2 Dozier, or Fallen to Apex.
To be fair, Doja would be the greatest Kevin Bacon in Counter Strike.
Fallen to Apex,
Yeah.
wouldn't
6
be
degrees of Dozier.
wouldn't be too difficult. I don't think. Fallen to Apex, you could go. Fallen and Stewie were on the same team.
Yeah.
Do we count like stand-ins?
Yeah, you can't all that shit. You can't be doing.
Because Stewie stood in for G2
Yeah,
at
exactly.
Dallas. So
Yep.
then you can tie him to someone from that G2 roster, let's say.
Body.
Well, no, Body wasn't on that roster, right? Or it can't be anyone from the team.
I think
from
once
the
once you
organization.
get to once you connect to Nico through Stewie, you can delete Stewie. You just go Nico to who's next.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so
But I'm
Nico,
thinking
who's
like
next?
it should be someone Nico to Kiyoshima,
Boys, this segment needs a little bit more time in the oven. I just want to throw that
Kiyoshima
out
to
there.
Apex, and
A little
Apex
bit
to
more time
Dozier.
in the oven.
But the idea is out
idea's
there now,
there.
Jason. I've got another one. Here's another
Okay.
one. This is another one. We're spitballing mini games, right? HLTV's got one. We need a mini game. So look, 6 degrees of Apex. It needs work, right? What about podcasts of the Counter-Strike space, boys? All right, there's so many of them. Surely we can get to like 20. We can surely get out 20 of them. We got Talk and Counter. Jason, go.
Wait, sorry. Say it again. My phone gave a notification that Bluetooth canceled out. You want something
the
about
guy's
podcast, Talk and Counter? Go. Say it again. I was silent since shit. Just say it again.
Say a Counter-Strike podcast name.
Beyond the Numbers. Does it have to be going live right now?
No, I guess that's fine. I could give you that.
I mean,
right.
you got to give me the rules if we're going to be doing this game. Jesus.
Well, we're defining them right now. We're
Okay,
coming up
hot
with things
take
for the
point
people
made.
at home.
What do you want from me?
There you go. Bang, he's in. Yanko.
Snake and Banter.
Geographically challenged.
HLTV confirmed.
Feed the Trolls.
Oh, shit.
The Come Here HLTV podcast.
Counterpoints.
Counterpoints.
Ah, nice try. That's it.
They're
They're all gone.
There's some
There's more.
Overcombed or something
Yeah,
like that.
Overcombed. Yep. B-side baddies.
Sure.
Jason, what do you got? Are you going to drop the... Iggy might be out here. He's looking tapped.
I might be gone. Ted's fucking podcast. What's that called?
What's it called?
What's it called?
Oh, it's so
Let me
on
pull
the
up his
nose
fucking.
too.
Let me
He's
pull up his
struggling
fucking
here.
Twitter.
No, you can't be Googling.
Jason can't.
What the
You're
fuck?
cheating. Jason's cheating.
I don't know it. I don't know the name of it. Is it? Well, there's
It's so
the All In
so
podcast
simple
as well. Did anyone say the All In podcast?
The fuck's the All In podcast?
Isn't that Banks's? They're all about CS. Is that Banks's?
Yeah, there you go. You got one.
They're TED Talks.
There you go.
That's
TED Talks.
Okay,
that cannot be his podcast name. Is it really?
Yes.
Dinko's
No, it
one,
can't
the
be.
Post plan.
Surely that's got some kind of. You can't use that name.
Ball's still alive, Jason. The Post plan. Dinko's podcast. What's you got one?
Wait,
it's
did
on to Jason.
It's on me
Yeah,
again.
Yanko went. Yeah, Yanko said TED Talks.
Oh, that's right, he did. Dinko's podcast.
And
Dinko's.
I said the Post plan with
I'm
Dinko
out,
and Henry
dude.
G.
I got nothing else.
Yes,
I got
we
nothing
did
in
it,
the
Yanko.
tank.
We got him.
All right, there's another mini game. That's for the people at home to play.
That's
Look,
good.
there's too many podcasts, guys, and I wanted to bring this up in a sly manner because we should retire. There's too many Counter-Strike podcasts. What are we doing? We're all talking like 12 hours a week. We're talking heads. We're existing on the internet like this fucking thing that's in the sky. There's just records upon records of us. The AI is going to start copying us, and it's over.
It's the Truman Show.
Have you guys thought about that?
Yeah, we're all a video
we're
game
doing
Truman
it a
Show.
service, right?
We're feeding it right now all of our information. They're going to replace you, Jason. They're not even going to have to ask for your likeness. They'll just call it something else.
Dude, honest
Instead
to
of
God,
Moses, they'll just call you like Mason or something. You're going to get rebranded.
I think at this point, I would just pay someone to take over for me. Bring the
But
AI
if we
in.
pull
Get
out
a fake
now-
Moses in there. I just want to disappear. Just send me into the mountains. Let me go chill in a little hut somewhere. You know?
What if we pull out now? What if we retire now?
Retire on top is always a good strategy, I think.
That's what I'm saying. Like if we
What
go
would
out
happen
before the
if-
AI comes in.
Like if the three of us just retired right now. Yeah.
Oh, the scene would die. Yeah,
Yeah, it'd
It'd
be
be
over.
it'd be
over.
over. There's no
Yeah.
way.
Wouldn't even really be any
Yeah.
point in playing the games, I think, at this point.
Would you retire? Like, because here's the thing: with what we get to do,
We're going
it would feel
philosophical.
silly with how with how cool what we get to do is as our like way to earn money. Because I think sometimes I call it a job, but I'm like, that's not. I shouldn't call it a job. It's not a job. Like when I was plumbing, that was a job. Or like when I was stacking shelves in Woolworths, like that was a job. What we get to do now is like fun. Right? I get to do something with a video game. People trying to master it, and we're commentating it, or we're being on an analyst desk, or we're talking about it right now. Like three absolute clowns in the middle of the day on a Wednesday. Like one thing we do is we get together and we talk about this game. Like so, you wouldn't think you want to walk away from this, but like do you want to? Because Jason, you were talking about working in the coffee room at MIBR once upon a time. What do you want to do, Jason? Man? Like, where do you want to go? What's the plan?
Yeah, you guys made fun of me for like a good 6 months off that one. I
Yeah,
wanted
it was weird that you wanted to go
be an
get
intern.
coffee for Lurpus.
I had
you wanted
like-
to get coffee for Lurpus, bro.
I had like 2 months off of like no events during the summer. And I was living, Jane was still living in California. So I was like, fuck it, I got nothing to do. Yeah, I wanted to go be an intern and just like see what it was like working on the org. Cause we only get the TO perspective. So I wanted to go get into an org, and it probably wouldn't have given me the information or the experience I wanted, but whatever, fuck it. Didn't happen anyways. Yeah, I don't, if I like, I guess the premise of this would be like, if you won $100 million right now, would you just retire and not work? And like, would you leave the job? Is that sort of like the similar kind of premise you're going for? Because
I suppose.
like
Well,
if I
not
didn't
really. I
need to
guess it's
work,
like,
if I didn't
but
need
do
to
you want
work,
to
would I
do
still do
this
this?
forever as well? Like, would you want to commentate? Like, let's say you could. Let's say there was a world where you could. Would you commentate forever, or would you want to do something else?
If there's a world where I could, I would think I would commentate forever.
Okay,
On some
interesting.
degree, maybe not like 100% all in doing the grind of the circuit, right? But like,
What would your like dream amount of events in a year be? Like, if you could just like pick. Like, obviously, you'd assume that you did all the big ones, right? You'd want to be doing the majors, and you want to do that. So if you could pick and you just could like do those, like in a year, how many events?
I think it'd be like, I think maybe like 8 to 10. I think I'd probably aim.
That's still a lot of events.
One per month ish doesn't sound terrible. I think I'd aim for
but when
like,
they're
I
2
mean, it
weeks
also,
long.
that's the thing. It also depends on the events. Cause like Pro League is a little bit of a difference. So, cause like the
And
way
a month.
the way I normally think about it now is I'm gone X amount of days of the year. So I'd like to get that number to like 100 to 120, where right at the moment, I think it's at like 160 to 180 ish or something like that. That's my next goal,
Okay.
is scale it back, drop it back. But no, I would still want to commentate. I fucking love this shit. I think obviously you'd have to find something else to do to occupy some time, but I wouldn't retire. I'd still want to cast.
I'd do what this guy from Outdoor Boys does, man. I couldn't do it. I don't have the skills, but he just goes out there in the forest and looks so peaceful.
You can
But
learn, Chad.
I would want to try like coaching at some point, but like it feels like one of those things that I want to do because I really want to do it, right? And I'm not there yet. And also, like, if I wanted to coach a team, I would want to coach someone like FlyQuest, and Az is over there now, so like maybe I could join Aaron and it could be fun. But also, like, I like what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I would, do you reckon you could do things around the space that's not casting and still get the same level of enjoyment? That's the question. Like, I miss the team element, right? That's what I miss. Is like, that's why it'd be nice to be like coaching a team or like an assistant coach at a team, because you get that team element back. We don't really have that with what we do.
We used to.
A long time ago, but that's when everyone was getting drunk all the time, Jason.
Yeah, we were a great team back then. Now that we've sobered up, everyone fucking hates each other.
Yeah, well, the reality of who we are all started to settle in.
So when that personality really starts coming out, that we decided you're not the ones. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a joke, but I'm serious. Like, I used to get that team kind of that team itch scratched through like the broadcast, because it felt much more close knit in the early days. But yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean with the team side of things. Yeah,
I'm sure you guys.
Are you on the analyst desk forever?
Liquid and phase and yeah, what are you doing,
Jason
Yanko?
wouldn't recommend it.
I don't recommend coaching personally, but you know what, Chad? I think you would have a different experience than I would.
I might not. I might have a very.
You
similar
might not.
experience,
FlyQuest, you definitely would.
Yeah, anything's possible. But what are you doing, Yanko? You moving to an island?
I think I'm aligned with Jason, where I could do this, forever in a way, but I wouldn't want to be away from home as much as I am now. I think eventually, it's funny because like we've all matured, like grown up together to some sense. This wasn't something we would say, 7, 8, 10 years ago when we were doing this. We could have traveled even more. It would have been fine. You're going around the world. You have no roots anywhere. You're just having fun, experiencing like places for the first time. It was the best, honestly. But now as people start to settle down slowly, your priorities shift, and then you're like, yeah, this is cool and all, but ideally, I think we're all looking at the same thing, where you end up maybe just working with one TO. Maybe exclusivity becomes a thing. Maybe there's just one TO left, like some years from now, and they don't run.
Dystopian
It's always
future.
changing. It's always changing.
Yeah,
man.
they don't run as many events or whatever. Or there's maybe some leagues. Maybe there's stuff you do either from home, or maybe it's all done from one location, whatever, where you maybe relocate, whatever the fucking thing is. I enjoy the job. I enjoy the travel as well that comes with it. It's just like down the line, I would like to bring it down, right? Where it's not as much, so you could spend more time at home, spend more time with your family. That's the only detractor, I feel like, to this job, honestly, is just that you are away from home, away from family. Anything else, it's fucking, who cares?
I
It's
have
whatever.
a worry with this though, because what we do is not like competing, right? So I I guess there is competition to a degree because you have other people who are in the same field who are competing for positions at events, right? But like when you're playing and you're a player, like, you know, that drive can eventually go away, but it's also the thing that keeps pushing you. It's the thing that keeps pushing you to, like, you know, I don't know, you look at somebody like Fallen, for example, the fact he's stayed on top of the meta of Counter-Strike for such like a long period of time because you have to, otherwise you won't be able to compete. Like in our space, you know, what we do is subjective. So like people one day might like you and the next day they might not. And that's one of the things where the idea of thinking, can you do this forever? I would assume with everybody in this space, eventually like public sentiment gives in and people are just not in anymore, right? Like that's kind of how.
I think
Well,
in
sometimes
some
I mean
situations,
longevity can work for you in a way, you know, that you've been
But isn't
around
that more
for.
established sports? Like you see that in much, like I see people saying, "Oh yeah, no, this guy's been commentating, I don't know, fucking ice hockey forever," right? It's not. I don't know. It doesn't feel the same in ours because we seem to have like our main turnover of viewers is still younger people, even though it's a broad demographic. Like we're going up into the mid 30s to like 40s and stuff now, like probably even more. It's an interesting thing. You don't want to ever get washed as well.
Yeah, I think that's the key because I think you're right. It doesn't feel the same, but we're also at like the forefront of this kind of new industry / new career / new job path. So I mean, we're kind of experiencing all this new shit for the first time, and no one can tell us where it's going to go. I think I'm with you that I think sometimes it feels like the longer you're in, like you're getting closer to that point where like you publicly just kind of turns. But I think from what I've seen over the years is most of that has come with some of the old guard when like they've significantly dropped off. And I think that's the big thing to avoid is knowing when is the right time to get away. Like when are you no longer contributing to the game versus, you know, I think the hard part of getting out of a job like this and like a player, like Fallen talked about this in the episode we did with him, is like that identity of Fallen versus Gabriel. And I think in this job, where like a job like this, where you get famous and you get known and like you have like a certain level of status that you achieve as a public figure, that's the hard thing to leave. It's not so much the job. I think it's going to be this sense that once you leave the job, you no longer have that status, you're no longer recognized, you no longer have that position. I think that's going to be,
Especially for you. I mean,
yeah,
your
because
nickname is Moses.
I'm a massive narcissist as well. So that's going to be
not
really
be
tough.
Moses anymore.
But
No,
you know
but
what I mean? Like
I don't
that
know.
separation, like I experienced that when I stopped playing back in 2006 and went off to college, was just like, oh, nobody knows me as Moses here. Like that was weird to me.
Yeah, but I don't like somebody like Fallen will always be like Fallen in the space, right? I don't know. The thing I was talking about is, and you mentioned something to do with it there, but it's, you know, staying on top of what you do, no matter what it is, like whether it's playing or if it's like commentating or you're on the analyst desk or however you're presenting yourself, like you have to stay up to date with all the things that are going on, right? And it's very clear when, you know, you stop doing that, or, you know, that the motivation changes from like, I really enjoy this thing to this pays well as another thing. Like obviously that's why I guess I was starting with you got to be grateful of the cool thing we get to do, and framing it as a job, I think, is like a trap that you can fall into. Obviously what we do, you know, you people go, oh, that's not easy. And we've seen recently with examples of people going, oh, you can't just put anybody in front of a camera. Like I get all that, but at the end of the day, we are just fucking talking about a video game, aren't we? So enjoy it while we can. People always like, oh, you're gonna go back home to Osmo. It's like, I don't know, you can't give up. Yeah, like, but you can't give up getting to do this all the time. It's too good.
Also,
there's nothing better than it.
You can't call this a job because we've been doing this for 20 years before it was even a job. You know, like we were talking about Counter-Strike 15 hours a day from the age of 12 to
for the fun.
25, you know, just for shits and giggles.
I think that's another thing, because I've been, you know, actively thinking about this as well. It's like, you know, I have a degree in economics. You think I'm going to use it? What, I'm going to go somewhere and apply for a job if I want to quit this, like with my degree? You know, you committed so much of your life to this that this is your career now. You know, this is your profession
it's your main
now.
Commitment and focus. Yeah,
you know, I feel like if I wanted to, let's say I want to quit tomorrow, I want to take a normal job in Serbia or whatever, what I would have to go to a TV station and say I can
do the weather.
Yeah, nice, Jace.
Thank you.
I could do the weather, or you know, like I could do something like that. I could be a host for a panel for like sports. I don't know. You know, what could you do? Because this is what you've been doing really, outside of obviously starting your own business or doing something along those lines.
Yeah,
that's also something you need to take into account. And I agree, like there's nothing like competing. That's how I felt even while I was coaching, even with all the ups and downs and everything. And this job is super cool, but it's not competing in reality, so that would definitely be different, Chad, if you took that up. But for me, maybe something like, I'm not sure about really coaching, but
Team management of some variety.
GMing, like
Yeah,
something
big
along those
decision-making.
lines, or down the line maybe starting an org, like to try to grow local talent and try to put Serbia on the map in some way, and set up some nice foundations, way of doing things where you could really coach players, develop them, like develop the talent, and get something going. Like those are some of the things potentially that have crossed my mind about doing in the future.
All right, boys. Well, look,
That was fun. I had a good time.
it was
with that.
fun.
That
Like
was
thinking
great.
about
That was a
it.
good one.
Look,
Chad
there's
is
a
never
lot.
retiring.
Well, that's the thing. You can.
Let's get
I think-
philosophical.
No,
We're not.
well, I don't know. It's weird because you don't. There's time where you think, okay, it's over now, right? You definitely have had that thought before in your mind, right? Where it's like, you look at an end date and you go, all right, at this point, I'll reassess, how things are or how they're going. But it's all just a lie, isn't it?
Every
You were
November.
also you were
Every
kind of-
November for the last decade, really.
you were kind of in fallen shoes, things maybe weren't so hot, there was some shit going on, right? And all of a sudden, boom, roster change, something changed, you're feeling good again, you have a good team again, and now you can't you can't leave while you're a contender. You can't do that.
I think when I retired, when I was playing, it was so hard to see like what the answer should be. I guess maybe that's like a past thing you look at as like an indicator. It's like if everything just feels helpless and everything feels miserable.
What was
then I think
what was your second plan after playing instead of going into talent
didn't-
work? Did
I
you
didn't
have
have a
something
plan.
else?
This wasn't. No, it wasn't even a plan. Like it was. I was just going to keep plumbing.
Okay.
I'd only
plan.
stopped doing
Yeah.
that. I'd only stopped doing that for about a year, right? Because we were still like flying and I was plumbing and we were playing, right? So we still were doing all the things at once in the early years. And then like maybe it was only a year or a year and a half that I had where we were just focusing on the playing. So the idea of when I retired, I was like, I just know that whatever I'm doing now, I can't help the other people. Like I feel responsible for us not getting the results and I feel terrible while that's happening. So it's like, not only am I not contributing anything positive to the project, I'm also not contributing anything positive to me. So it was like, you'd be happy to sacrifice one for the other. If I felt miserable, we were making steps, great. Or if I felt good and we weren't making progress, that feels bad. I don't think I could do that.
Okay.
But look, if you're old mate Carrigan, 45% of people on Polymarket think that he's going to retire by June. So what I want to bring to the table right now is, what do we think that by the 30th of June? What do we think that is based in? Because that's, I would say, I don't know. My initial thought is that seems high, right? Let's assess, because this situation for poor Mr. Finn Anderson, his phase aren't playing very well. He's, what is he, 35 now? He's 35.
Ooh, yep.
FaZe are already making changes. He's no longer instated as the head decision maker over there at FaZe. He's in a scenario now where I guess it's going to be Eddie and stuff who are making the choices. Results are not looking good. What are we thinking? They don't qualify for the major. What happens? Or they will qualify for the major, but they don't have a good run at the major. They don't actually do a dent at the major this time. Do they even make it to the major with this roster?
I don't. This is. You'll love this because this is a little bit of like a baseless opinion, but I've always got the impression that Kerrigan's one of those people that will not leave on a disappointing note. Like I get the impression that Kerrigan is just going to
keep going for.
I think he would keep playing. If FaZe cut him after the major, it's a huge disappointment. I think Kerrigan would go join another team, to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
You think he would keep going?
Yeah. I think he would. I don't know if he'd want to like go out like winning a major and like wait for that moment, but I think he'd want some kind of positive note to retire on. I think Fallen's the same way. I think those two guys are going to have a hard time, but I don't see Kerrigan retiring this year. I think he's going to want one last good run, one last like team that gives him that feeling that they're competing for trophies, like one last fucking ride into the sunset.
All right, so look, you're going to need to play devil's advocate or devil's avocado here, right, to some degree.
Sure.
Because like there's three markets on Polymarket about players retiring. One of them's simple, one of them's carrying, one of them's fallen. Now, the simple and the fallen ones are negligible in terms of this same retirement date. The Carrigan one, 45% of people, right, have said there's a chance. 30th of June. So, you know, there's a 45% chance. So obviously there's people who believe in it. So what is that being based off? Why is that like a public sentiment? Because you're saying you don't think he will because you don't think he will go out on a weaker note, right? But
I think obviously it's based off their results.
does he want to keep building things though? Like what Jason's saying is like if FaZe has poor results, right, and then they cut him, Jason thinks he's going to keep going. Do you think he's going to keep going yet? Like,
think about the
again?
options he would have. Wouldn't MongolZ be like? Why wouldn't MongolZ say, "Let's roll the dice on Kerrigan"? You know, like Kerrigan is going to be able to step into over Brolin, and they're still struggling after the Cologne Major. They go out in another quarterfinals. Why the fuck wouldn't you? You know,
I think there would be a market for him. Definitely. The question is, it's all about him.
Does he want to
right?
keep playing?
Like, yes, exactly. Was he drained too much from all these issues with FaZe and everything that's happened in the last 2 or 3 years, right? Because you have to remember, okay, this last major in Budapest, they make the final out of nowhere. We could see that was just a fluke, really, in a way. They did nothing before that with the roster or after it to warrant that sort of a performance. Austin major, they had a stand-in, actually 2 stand-ins initially, and then just 1 stand-in. And great, they made the playoffs, overperformed, but that was it. It couldn't make playoffs in Cologne, couldn't make playoffs in Kato. You know, Shanghai major, again, okay, grand final. But leading up to that, they struggled all year long almost, right? They won Chengdu, and that was it, I think, in 24.
So are you using this right now to say, like, why would teams want him? Right? Obviously, we know the results at FaZe are bad.
No. I'm saying that it's been a really rough sort of 2 years, year and a half.
So you mean like he's drained as an individual where all of these losses
I
are
don't know if
taking
he
their
wants
toll.
to like keep competing, you know? Like I agree with Jason to some extent where it does feel like, and I would also hate it if he just retired and that he went out on a
losing note.
With, you know, like in that way.
But he's been playing for so long. Like people got to remember there was the 1.6 time.
But
right?
that's actually why I think that he would stick around longer to pursue it. I think his life has been Counter-Strike for so long. I don't think it's going to be easy to just kind of step away.
But he could go to coaching, right? Like,
yeah,
would you, if you were Carrigan, let's say at the end of the major run, FaZe like, all right, Finn, listen up, like we're going to move in a new direction right now. Like we've loved everything you've done here and had a great time. You can coach us, right? We're happy. We want you to be the coach of this, and you can take control of the project again, but you're not in the server. Or right, you think he goes and joins the team? Like, it just seems like, I don't know, bro. He's got to be tired, man. And then if you take a break, you're never coming back. You need to get straight back in there. I don't think at his age, if you take a break, you're getting back in.
I think you can take a break and come back to coaching. You can't take a break and come back to playing at his age. But he's also said if he switches into coaching, he wouldn't want his first coaching gig to be FaZe. He wouldn't want it to be his team that he was just playing for.
Yeah, but that's like what if, you know, FaZe like, we'll keep paying you the same money you're on right now.
That's true.
You come and you be
money is the great equalizer.
Like,
yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like, but that's also we were just talking about from our angle, like thinking about the future and everything like that. So, like, I don't know. Assuming he's been smart with his money, and he's a smart cookie, right? He did his degree while playing back in the early days, so he's got that there. Like he has you know, Carrigan's a man with a.
He's got that economics degree, just like Yanko. They're going to be starting a firm out of this. They're going to be investing.
So financially, financially, he's probably in a decent position. So it's like what he wants to do. And unlike Fallen and even Apex to some degree, I haven't really heard Carrigan talking too much about retirement. Like, have you guys heard that dialogue? Like, this is why when I see this figure, I'm sitting here and I'm asking myself, what is this based on? And if it's based on the results like Yanko's saying, then yeah, okay, then that means that the team might want to look for a change because, like, with the way things have been going for FaZe, something has to change, right? So if that's the case, then you're making an assumption that someone will pick him up or he'll be willing to take like a downgrade to build something back up again and show that like he can still fucking do this.
I don't think he'll build up, but I think he would have plenty of teams in the top 15 to 20.
So you're saying MongolZ is a suggestion. I don't think Falcons would
I think MongolZ is an easy one. I don't think Falcons would happen, but I think it'd be worth the investigation if you're them.
G2?
G2 could be a shout if things are going south for them. Let's see.
And get Hunter back to just a player role.
Yeah, I don't know what you do with the roster exactly. I feel like you have to keep Madison heavy guard. I don't know how you're going to get
What about Navi?
for Alexi.
I
don't know,
I can't see it, but it's possible. I think Liquid would be one that
Yeah, I don't
you could point
like
at as well.
Blade and Karrigan with their styles don't
really mix,
feel
yeah.
mega compatible,
No,
really.
they don't. Like
Liquid
I
could
think
be one.
that's the other problem that's going to happen there is like that you're going to have to change your approach with Karrigan as the in-game leader, right? Like whereas some of these teams are starting to move in a direction. Like that's the thing with MongolZ. You're saying okay, MongolZ, but they're approaching the game in a way that Cycron and sees, right? That's essentially
Yeah,
what this is because Brolin's taken over the in-game leadership from Shuey and they're still playing the same way.
It might actually do them a bit of good to like go into a fucking 10-10 semifinal match and have Karrigan just say, "Turn your fucking brains off and go through the smoke." You know, like.
But isn't that also like a temporary thing? Like Karrigan is only he's going to be like a stopgap. I don't think anyone's going to invest like long term in him, right? Like if if he's going to get a contract, how long is he getting a contract for? Would he get more than a year?
Wouldn't that be like if we just keep using MongolZ as the example? Wouldn't that be the ideal situation? You've been knocking on the door. You've been top 3 for 2 years. You can't get over that hump. You know it's only a matter of time before this team gets broken up or one of your player leaves when his contract ends, and they won't want to re-sign. They'll want to because they're tired of getting fucking second, third, fourth place and not winning championships. And you say, boys, we're giving it one last year. We're bringing Karrigan on a 1-year contract. We're going to try and just swing for the fucking fences here. Like that.
Yeah, but you're
that
picking
is kind
like
of the charm of that
case
move.
right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
but like that's the thing. It's like I'm just trying to think how many options there. I would like to see him keep going and pushing the upper echelons of this. I think maybe here's the key. It's like I said, we've heard from Apex to some degree. We've heard from Fallen more often than not. We need to ask Karrigan. Yeah. What's his thoughts on retirement?
I bet he has some really cool,
what we need to do.
really cool perspective on retirement too. I bet he has a really interesting take on it.
I don't think like that. Maybe there's an interview that I'm missing where we're spoken about or something. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there has been some discourse, but it's not in my periphery. So I would like to. I want to know. That's going to be something I'm going to look to find out.
Bad results equal retirement rumors.
Well, yeah, I guess.
I think it's also something that we need to remember is when we talk about these guys like moving to coaching, I don't think a lot of them will just go for
Fallen and Apex didn't seem interested in it.
Because, dude, like that doesn't mean any less travel.
Yeah.
That
doesn't
means
change your life.
All the work you were doing as a player and then some, right? Without the fun of playing, which sure for some people, but a lot of times these guys are just like, man, I just want to spend more time at home. Like same thing that we talked about. And also, I'm not saying Karrigan wouldn't make a good coach. His style is also very instinctive, I feel like, too, where he does a lot of things on the fly. Now I'm sure like if he wanted to coach, he could probably put it all on paper and do it in a way where he could translate it to lessons isn't a good word for it, but in a way where it can be taught and people could get used to playing it. So I wouldn't expect him to, when he retires, to immediately go into coaching. I definitely expect him to take at least a year off and then maybe look at getting back into it.
Yeah, I guess if someone is financially sound for a long period of time, I also think that's one of the things we don't talk about too much in terms of influencing people's decisions, right? Because like what you were talking about before, Yanko, with how people's lives change and families or scenarios like that. If you have a kid, then unless you have made a shitload of money, and it'll depend on the country where you live in and everything, right? Like you need to continue to earn, and I think that might influence some people's choices in the space of like what type of gigs and stuff they get involved in, right? So, but you would imagine you'd have time to take some time off.
$1.6 million in prize money.
What's that? Esports earnings?
Yeah, esports earnings.
That won't include like sticker money and stuff, right? So he's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah,
but that's it. It's like if he financially doesn't, like Fallen, we would assume doesn't have to do anything because he's built such a strong foundation of things that he's been involved in, right?
Fallen could retire tomorrow and he'd probably make more money than he's making being a player. He'd probably make 10 times more money than what he's making as a player right now.
Some people you see have a way out. Some people, don't. So it is what it is. That's how she goes, right? But it's like
it is.
You don't because that comes back to the choice we were talking about, right? Like, if you're like Yanko was saying, it's like you really don't want to travel anymore, and you're fortunate enough that you've made enough, then you can make that choice. But for some people, like maybe you have to do a coaching gig or something, which sounds like maybe you have to do a coaching gig. Like people dream of doing that, but like
Well, I'll give
people,
you,
I
I'll
think
give
at
you
the
a
same
real world
time,
one right now, like an
Yeah?
easy one. Well, I mean, I can just point at myself as I try and scale down. Like people will see I'm doing less and less desk gigs. Like I'm just turning down more desk work now, where in the past I've been willing to do it. That's just a decision you make. Where if you wanna be home more,
It's a terrible decision, by the way, but whatever.
I don't know. So like I saw a tweet from Freakazoid the other day, right? And it was in response. It was like retweeting this thing with Chopper, and Chopper made a statement. It was like, "I won't be
Oh, I
returning
saw
for the
that,
next 4 to 5 months, no matter who'd ask. In order to play at Tier 1, you need to have motivation and wish that you won't say that you're tired in a month. It's not yet time for me to give another 1 or 2 years of my life, even for this, right?" And then Freakazoid's retweeted that saying, "I'm telling you, CS players right now, you're going to realize one day how lucky you got it, and one day you'll understand what I mean by that." And I think like when you're in it, this is another thing. Like when you're in it and you're able to compete and play at the highest level and stuff, that's the best fucking feeling in the world. Obviously not if you're losing all the time, and that's where that gear kind of shifts. But when you're out there and you're competing and you're winning games, like I don't get anything in my day to day that gives me the adrenaline in the same way as like winning a match of CS did back in the day. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't have any crazy results like of lifting trophies and stuff, but coming over as an Australian team who, Australian teams rarely beating Europeans in the past, winning those games was fucking huge at the time. Like in the context, people look and go, yeah, shit, you were shit. But like for us in the context of what we were doing, those were big wins. And those things like fucking filled you with that getting fired up feeling. And I kind of think that's what Freakazoid means there. Like your time on this ride, it's not guaranteed. And while you've got it, you don't know, like the feeling that you're getting and stuff is fucking sick. Even the little wins and everything like that. That's why I think Vitality do really well. Like they actually like enjoy their wins as they're getting them. Like they're very aware of, what they have to peak for and what it means at the time.
And that's a great segue into Cluj results, Chad. But before we
take
I
that
think it's also
beautiful
the reason-
segue.
No, it's also because like a lot of these players, you get into it young, right? Where before you had to really do anything or experience real life, right? And then you're playing the game, you're not thinking about it whatsoever. And then let's say perhaps your career ends prematurely because you were an asshole or whatever, even if
You got a bad
doesn't.
benching or something,
And you weren't as successful or couldn't do as much, and now you have to live a regular life and work a regular job, like compared to what you were doing before and how much you were making, it's night and day. And
it's a bit of a shock to the system.
Yeah, definitely people out there who don't think about it as much.
All right,
But the way Falcons have been playing, they might all need to learn Chinese soon.
We can get on that segue now. So obviously Vitality won Cluj, and everyone we have to do mandated glazing because if you don't, make sure you say the good thing that we say on every podcast. That's
we
why
don't have to.
That podcast game
we don't
we
have
played
to,
at the start,
Chad.
On every one of those podcasts we listed, all 243 Counter-Strike podcasts we listed, everyone is going to have to glaze Vitality. You don't have a choice.
We can skip it.
You're witnessing greatness right now, Jason.
We can be the only podcast that skips the glaze.
I've been glazing hard, Jason. I'm running out of glaze. Like I'm going looking into my
what
glaze
I'm talking
supply.
About. Everyone needs a break. You need to recharge the glaze, Chad. Go make yourself a sandwich. Take a 10-minute nap.
Save the glaze.
Okay, saving the glaze.
Save the glaze for where it's like more warranted.
Okay.
Because for this event, it's just all their big competitors screwed the pooch, and they got into the playoffs. I mean, in the playoffs they played Aurora, MongolZ, and Paravision.
I just need to say this. I hate that we're in this scenario. I don't like it.
We don't have to be in it.
Guys, I don't like this scenario. Let me tell you about the scenario that I don't like.
What
okay?
scenario?
All right. We're in a scenario, we're in a world where we need to say, man, but if FaZe make it to the playoffs, man. And we're in a scenario if we say, yeah, but if Falcons actually play to the potential of their pieces, they can win a trophy, man. Because I can't keep doing these stories over and over. And yeah, if Mouse is playing anyone who's not Vitality, man. If we have to do these stories, these same stories, because I do maintain that position. If the Fail Clowns play as the Fail Clown should, then they will soar like the Falcons they are. If they overextend on eco rounds and lose fucking the literal most important rounds of games because they're over peaking and doing dumb shit, then I can't live in that world of, man, they can win a tournament one day, man. I don't want to live here anymore, man.
Hey, Kiyasuke looked good though.
It's fine, Chad. You don't need to, up until
the playoffs.
when it mattered.
And then he's overextending in donut against an eco in a position where he's committed to an angle and there's
steps.
no trade. Like,
focus on the positives.
Not baby steps.
Baby steps. We got group stage.
Look at Paravision. Could you imagine if fucking Ziello played that position? Dastan would kick him in the head.
Yeah.
Like,
it's true. They just don't have. And I was on the same flight out of Cluj as Dastan, me and Alex, and we got to chat to him a little bit in the loud, and he's just like, man, the sort of mistakes that they made, like they need to play with more discipline. And I do get the feeling though that like Dastan and James and that team in particular, they focus more on micro than a lot of the other teams do. And I think they have more terminology for some of those moments, right? Like even if you remember the Belchanok round, obviously where
5-7,
of course first Nico screws up by
James, then Belchanok
fighting
trades,
him so quickly and everything. But then he one taps like two guys, he kills
running
two guys.
Ramp,
like Dustin is saying, like, why are those guys playing to kill?
Yes. Play the ball.
Like those guys are both fighting to get the kills, and like they're
to bat. There's no crossfire
on that fight. It's like there's no we have a. He said something, like they have something for where one guy plays to whatever, and the second guy then make sure he trades, right? That he's in a position where he can absolutely get that trade kill. By the way, you jiggle peak. By the way, you play your position, right, where you don't just both full swing or whatever it is that they did. Exactly. And I don't think, and I don't just mean Falcons. I think a lot of international teams maybe struggle with this, to have
the correct
terminology and for like these really the smallest of moments, right? They have for the big things, when someone's flanking, for this, for that, when you want to play safe, when you want to swing together, like for those main things, they absolutely do have it. But some of the stuff he was talking about, and honestly it was also something we touched on the desk a lot, that I talked about, is they're proof that we still have a long way to go in terms of coaching, and like coaching young players who are inexperienced players, right? Because look at what they were able to do with three, basically four rookies, because they only just.
How does James describe them?
Joined
Kids
them, right?
Off the street or something?
Kids off the streets, so face it, right? Like, look how they play. They make very few mistakes, if any mistakes. How many times do you see Paravision lose a 5v3 or a 4v2?
Bro,
and why do they lose it? They don't lose it because of micro. They don't lose it because one guy spams through the smoke in a 5v2, then dies. Then the other guy runs through the molly on his own, he dies, right? Like, they just have nailed those fundamentals down. They've coached, and absolutely Dastan is someone, and I'm sure James, who in practice is like really strict with the players, because you have to get it, to imprint it into their brains, where it just becomes second nature. There's no moments where, they just do it because whatever, that's what he would do in Face It, or you're up, or you're playing a shit team. No, like there's no fallback. This is just the one sort of speed that they have, where they always do it together. They always play the correct way.
Don't you think with time that'll
because
change?
You would hear it from Dustin and from James. I don't know if Kyosuke hears it as much as he should from his teammates or from his coach or from anyone.
How long do you give it though before the players are established enough and experienced enough to where they start feeling more freedom to make different decisions?
Do you mean on
like this? Do you think this discipline is going to stick around for another year? What if this team is getting to top fours as a top 5 team? Don't you think individuals will start breaking out of these fundamentals eventually?
Okay, so you have to, right? Otherwise, in certain ways, you're going to get counter-stratted, which is what happened to them on Overpass with a lot of like the way they'd approach. They need to have more variation, right? If you look at what they're doing.
Also, fuck you, Chad, for you do this segment on fucking like HLTV, and all of a sudden it's like everyone's talking about it, everyone's raving about it. When I fucking do it after the game, no one cares. Is it because I'm from Serbia?
I think so.
It's because the content is on the analyst desk.
Shut the fuck up, Jason. We'll go on, Chad.
So anyway, but what you see is their fundamental base gets them to certain points in the round where the individual has to take over. So like they still get their moments of like skill expression and making a play. It's just they like, I think at a certain point, the decision tree breaks down to a moment where it's like, okay, well, enough mistakes or enough qualifying things have happened to now you need to show me like how you instinctually approach the situation, right? Because a point of the game hits that you can only make the right plays up until a point. Like certain scenarios have the right plays, and sometimes the right play is being more aggressive or taking that gamble. And I feel like they're balancing that in our very eyes. Like we're seeing it have to play out. Like you look at the third map of that final, they start taking more risks because they're down 2 maps, and they probably went outside and had that convo. Boys, we never thought we were going to do much in this final anyway. It was vitality, but like let's let ourselves off the leash now. Let's take some more chances. Let's and you saw it winning them certain scenarios, right? So I think their biggest thing is they're very clear as a group of managing the expectation, right? Dustin is constantly saying that, right? Like they're putting it out there in their messaging. And I have no reason to believe that him and Jane wouldn't continue that, right? Because they will have had their learnings from the version of VP that found its highs, and then they couldn't find they made the roster change, right? I think these guys are probably going to look at that as a big learning of what to do this time around. So I don't know how long it can last, Jason, while they're super disciplined, but as long as you keep updating the thoughts, then I think you're okay.
I just think those young players, like at the moment, they're almost like you're almost like in this world of like shell shock competing at this level, and you're just like fucking listening to Jame and Dustin, but you give them a little bit more experience, and they're going to start thinking they know better in different scenarios, or they trust their skill a little bit more. You're going to start seeing those fundamentals break down here and there a little bit more.
I don't know, bro.
Well,
that's what got me to this point in such a short period of time. If I'm Ziello, Belchinok, or Nota, and I know, and I have any self-awareness as a human being, if I look what got me from being like
doesn't
just
describe many players, but
But that's the thing. Like, you have to be a certain type of person who's willing to actually learn and listen, right? And the thing is, you're getting good feedback. The feedback is it's 3 events played in 2026. We've been in the grand final of 2 of them, and we lifted a trophy, and we had an exciting game and some exciting patches versus Vitality. We're on the right path.
Yeah,
unless you become the best team in the world, I don't think they fucking start to fall away from that.
Look, I could be wrong, but I think that's the general tendency that I've noticed of younger players, especially talented younger players over the years of over 20 years of watching Counter-Strike. And this is to Yanko's point that he brought up of we're still very far behind on getting top level coaching and top level, kind of team management behind the players. And this will be, I think it's one of the things you naturally have to just stay on top of. And that's the task of Jame and Destan, is to maintain that discipline and notice it happening and making sure it doesn't get too out of control before they reel it back in. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to have to stay on top of that. Right. I think it's just a natural tendency of individuals to just eventually get to a point where they're like, when Jello's at some point going to be like, bro, I got like 7 aces in the last tournament. I have a little bit more freedom. I can get away with doing this instead of playing it like this,
I think it depends on the personalities of the players, just like as humans too. Like, are they guys who are perfectly willing and capable to just take a back seat and do what they're told, or do they have a little bit of an ego, or will that ego, I guess your point is, develop as they're getting wins and being good? We'll see. But I think they should be very careful about that, because we've seen throughout history, Jame and Dustin have no problem cutting players.
That's the messaging I got from Dustin. I was talking to him briefly, and it felt like him being like, the sentiment I got was roughly this: if my guys think that they're tier 1 now and they're willing to make like the same stupid mistakes a Falcons guy is like these guys are still nobody. Like, I can just replace them. Like, he didn't say that last bit. That was the vibe I got from the conversation.
That's you reading between the lines.
Yeah, and it was a convo we had in the elevator, right? Yeah. Like, this wasn't like saying we were sitting down or anything. It's like as we're in transition from the lobby to the elevator to our room. So it was a short one.
That's how it should be, man. Like, you do what the coach tells you and what then the in-game leader tells you, and that's it. You don't have, you can give some feedback. Okay, you have your style, whatever, like whether you're more passive or aggressive and which position you play, all this shit, but you do as you're told. You don't not everyone needs to have an opinion on how we fucking play the game. I don't care what you fucking think. I don't know. I don't want to put anyone in a bad spot, right? But there's a hierarchy in a team. You have your in-game leader, you have your second voice. That's it. And your opera, who sort of just for himself has plays that he likes. Then you build around him. Everyone else, we don't give a fuck. Like, you just play and do your job. Do your job.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you just sit there and do nothing, right? You obviously still need to be active, like in those positions, but you're not the one who's dictating like how the game is played.
I think, maybe if we change this, it's like not everyone needs to be hurt. I don't know. I'm
Sure.
like I'm going up against myself in some way because you can't like just treat a guy like
shit.
he's just there. Of course, he can he says something, right? But there's a difference between you sort of just voicing your opinion and then you actively trying to impact or influence. Like you said what you said to your coach or to your IGL, they think you can do better or not. And if they say no, I disagree, that's it. That's the end of the conversation, right? And if they maybe agree and want to implement it, great, you have done something. But I think there's some teams where this hierarchy isn't clearly established, and that's why they have chaos at times in their ranks. That's why they look sometimes lost. That's why there's a lack of identity, because there's no structure.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Any other results from Cluj?
But I think
that were surprising.
MongolZ losing to Paravision.
Yeah, I guess somewhat surprising.
But there's nothing I don't want to talk about MongolZ. It falls into the same conversation point as normal. There's positives of the event that I liked. Like if I go to the group stage, I liked watching Foot. They're a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
I thought Sizzy looked like interesting on bait. I know that they went out in the 1-3 category, but I think Sizzy had some moments. Obviously, not well rounded on all the maps, but it seemed like an exciting AWPer to watch. Cobra Zero having some good games for the MongolZ is a promising sign. They obviously came into this event and practiced, which is good, because they beat Navi, and that's a decent scalp to take, I think. So it still maintains them in the top 10 discussion for the MongolZ. Otherwise it's like Aurora, same situation for them on stage. A lot of this stuff I feel like I can gloss over because nothing really changed.
I also don't understand some of these conversations. Some of these conversations I heard also on the desk, like from other people or whatever. People are talking about the MongolZ and like we have to tone down our expectations. Like, what were the expectations before? I don't get it.
Yeah, but they were a top 10 team who had like top 5 punch ability. Right, and
I think they're still the same team.
Yeah, I think so for the most part. I think like EWC result was a flash in the pan. That didn't feel like that was going to be a mainstay in terms of their output. But
Techno MVP.
Yeah, but I also think this is another one, right? When we're talking about the Carrigan retiring stuff, this is another one I think I would like to ask the MongolZ if I get an opportunity. Let's say they qualify for the LAN portion of EPL. I want to ask, like, what is the philosophy behind not practicing? Because we asked them, like, did you practice? They say no. But I want to understand, like, what is their season structure? It has to be the major is the most important. So is everything on the road to the major like Mara's plan of, okay, some things are more important like than others? So like for us, when we would say a Krakow's an important event, it's not for them. They didn't practice, right? So why is that? I want to know, why is that event not important? Like, why is this like a flow to the year? Is it management, the amount of days that you have? Like what hierarchy and structure of a ramping do they use compared to what we would use from a traditional sense? Because theirs is obviously different. Like they didn't practice before Cologne last year either.
Honestly, before you asked this question, I would have never assumed that there was like a structured plan behind it.
But there
you know what I mean?
There must be. Why would you not practice?
It seems
like,
yeah, I'm with you. It seems like there should be, and it'd be logical that there is, but I guess because it's such a foreign concept that you just don't practice for events, which has been such an antithesis of every way that every team has operated for 10 years. It's like, it's weird to think that that's the plan.
But there must be something behind it, right? Like if they go, no, this is just what we do. Okay, fine. But I swear, like there has to be an active choice behind it.
Yeah, I could understand it for an event if like you're in a busy schedule and it like that makes sense. But if you're just not practicing for like 3 of the biggest events, I don't know. It is strange.
But that's it. Like merely posing the question. So I think that's the key. We off of the question itself, like next opportunity we get, because they were going back home. They were going back home after that event. So they have EPL coming up, but we were on the same plane as them leaving Cluj. They were going to Munich, and
are they going back to Mongolia?
I asked them. I said to them, I said, "Oh, where are you going?" And Tanner says, "Yeah, back to Mongolia." So, right, like I know that their stage is not until stage 2 of EPL online doesn't start until the 6th of March. Right now is the 25th, but that's only a fucking week and a half from now.
Yeah,
it's a week from now.
Well, and then I imagine they have to travel back to Europe to play the online games, right?
But obviously EPL is not important, right? It is, yeah. It is online. EPL is obviously not that important, but that's kind of the thing. It's like, okay, so I guess they have Rotterdam after EPL. So maybe they use EPL as warm-up for Rotterdam. That
mean,
could be it, right? Use the online games and then like come back and stay for that because Rotterdam starts on the 18th and EPL playoffs ends on the 15th. So that could be it. See, like there's probably some method to the madness. It's just that we didn't. I want to know. Like I'm gonna take fucking my phone with Translate and we're gonna have a conversation from Mongolian to English and English back to Mongolian. I'm getting to the bottom of this.
Your greatest interview in CS history was in 2 languages.
Yeah.
So you can pull it off again. I'm sure.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
But yeah, I think for them it's just for me the expectations have always been. I didn't know what to expect with controllers, for example, right? But when I saw him first tournament that he's picking off, I'm like, okay. I had him as a lock to make like the playoffs of Budapest, for example. Because people underestimate when 4 guys have been together for so long, losing the player, even though it was their
best player, quote unquote,
best player, doesn't it doesn't mean like they forgot how to play or they're just be bots.
I think I was low on them because I think they're always punching. That's the problem. Like, even though I see them make these runs and I see how skilled their players are, but I'm like, it feels like they're always punching up. Like, it always feels like it's they get there, but it's never going to be easy.
Do you think the fact that we know that they don't practice for every single event also keeps them at a lower status in our heads?
Well, maybe for the first event they play of the stretch, right? Like, do we expect a good performance from them in EPL, but then maybe they have a good performance in Rotterdam? That's interesting framing. Yeah. I don't know. They're obviously an exciting team. I like the way they play Counter-Strike. There's risks that are taken. There's aim on display. They're really fun to watch.
You got to give them credit for being able to go back consistently in Mongolia and find a new 5th player every fucking 6 months and train them up and still maintain competitive nature. Like pulling Mizzinu out of nowhere, pulling controllers out of nowhere, pulling Cobra Zero out of nowhere, and they're all working.
Yeah, that doesn't stop being like an interesting factor. It's just, I think they're not like a top 5 locked-in team in my mind. Like they can be a top 5 team, but I wouldn't put them in my top 5.
They can beat something like we saw in the Furia game, right? Like sometimes they can beat teams that are in that top 5 category, but you don't feel like they have enough in the tank to beat
to do it 3 times
of
in
them
playoffs,
to lift a trophy, and also in a best of 5 final. Like the thing about MongolZ is like their map pool is too shallow. Like that's what's holding them back. Like they're great on Mirage, obviously Ancient, pretty good. Nuke, so and so, I guess. Inferno is there, but like maps like Overpass, Dust 2 is a huge weakness. Overpass, they don't really play as much. They're now banning Anubis. They used to play it before. So until they pick up on some of those other maps, they won't be able to do more damage. Like it will really have to be matchup specific because of the veto.
Let me ask this then, right? I'm going to take us away here for a second, but we'll still be in the same universe, right? You'll still be in the gravitational pull of Cluj, but you'll just be talking about EPL. So with everything we saw, just listen, Jason, don't look too quizzical. I promise I'm taking you to the promised land. With what we saw in Cluj, so Vitality winning, they're not going to be at EPL, right? And nor are Falcons. Falcons are not there. Obviously, it's probably something like Kyosuke visa-wise, but they're not going to be there. So with Falcons and Vitality not there, but everybody else that we saw, essentially, there, right? Who would you guys have as your front runner to win EPL? Obviously, stage 1, stage 2, right? Online Swiss, but then 8-team playoff on LAN arena. So looking at the teams who are going to be there, who do you take based off what you saw? Well, maybe not even based on what you saw, just what you think are going to be the EPL champs, because it will be a new champ. Fucking Vitality won last season, so we will have a new one. We got Furia, Mouse, Spirit, Aurora, Navi, the MongolZ, FaZe, Bait, and then in stage 1 we have Paravision, G2, Astralis, Foot, NRG, Monty, Liquid, 3D Max, Heroic, Legacy, M80, NIP, Pain, Passion, Gaming Gladiators, and Semperfi. So obviously not many from that second page, but
Spirit.
You guys. Spirit was my shout too, because they're boot camping already, and I think they're going to be hungry to win something. Seeing Vitality getting off to this start, but what's going on with Furia? Like,
you want me to be crazy?
Yeah, be crazy, Jason.
Paravision? Is that wild? I
think it's wild to predict with the field that we know. So do you think they'd be like? Let's say they get in a bracket where maybe they play. I don't know. Let's say they play MongolZ. They have, well, we don't know. We don't have any data in that head-to-head. I don't. You think
That'd be a fun
Paravision
clash
can
of
run-
styles. It'd
already
be a fun
beat.
clash of styles. I think they would.
Yeah.
I think by virtue of what we talked about of how fundamentally sound and how strong their micro decisions are, I think they'd have an edge over MongolZ, and obviously with very little confidence
Well,
in
they
MongolZ
beat
being able to
MongolZ,
win. Yeah. I think Furia at the moment feels a little.
But
up
you
and
don't
down.
think you don't have confidence in MongolZ winning without Vitality there?
I mean, you're telling me who I think MongolZ can win. I don't think they would. I still think this team is going to go up against a squad and make mistakes and struggle. And I think with Paravision, like I don't think they're necessarily like any kind of like crazy stronger than all these teams, but it is that factor of playing so well fundamentally and micro and like minimizing mistakes. I still think James has that element where because they play so smart, because they make so many good decisions based off the context of the game, I feel like he forces teams to play to the style that he wants them to play in. Like he forces them to make decisions into like his framework. I think he really lures them into this, like the slow style, like lures teams into being aggressive when he's waiting for them. It also catches them off guard when they want to do something a little bit more poppy. And just the lack of mistakes, man. I think every other team I see make a lot of mistakes right now. Paravision, I feel like those mistakes are made, but they're at like a smaller scale. Like they don't ruin rounds.
Well, they're but that's back to that fundamental drilling
Yes.
that we're talking about.
I think
like,
that
it's
fundamental
tough.
advantage is really underrated and really strong.
Yeah, but I just think it's like tough to back them. Like I know there's been consistency from them in 3 straight events, but like that's the thing. This team right now,
Bro, I know it's
everything they're
wild.
doing is proof of concept of that consistency. So you question the consistency until consistency has been achieved. And 3 events is too small of a sample size in my mind. Like even though they didn't have the best result in Krakow, I still think they played good CS in Krakow, right? Like I still think they played against good teams and those losses weren't the worst. So I'm not giving them a bad grade. I think they're a very exciting team. I just don't think like I would predict them to win EPL.
Every other team in the top 10, I feel like, is either sliding backwards or kind of just like barely treading water in terms of like none
So
of
you
like
think Fury is
Paravision.
sliding backwards? I think that's probably fair to say with the result they have.
I would probably put them closer to like treading water, where it feels like they haven't quite gotten back to that peak that we saw from last year, and they haven't quite got it yet, but it's still sort of there. MongolZ is
You still have
definitely
MongolZ treading water.
treading water. Falcons sliding fucking backwards because
They're
they
not
still
there.
can't win
Don't worry about
5-on-2s. Like what the fuck? Spirit, I think treading water because we don't know how this like whole Magic's IGL is going to turn around long term. I still think that could be some huge issues that prevent them from getting trophies. MongolZ treading water with a brand new player in there, maybe getting a little bit better. Navi, whatever, FaZe sliding backwards.
These are not serious teams.
Yeah,
Yeah, but someone
the
has
teams
to
that
win.
can win this
Someone
event,
has to win.
It's Spirit, Furia, or I don't
Mouse.
even want to say MongolZ. I'm not
You
saying
gotta say
MongolZ. It's
Mouse.
going to be Spirit or no, I don't.
All right. Well, I'm saying
It's Spirit or
MongolZ.
Furia.
You have to
It's
put
Spirit
MongolZ in
or
the
Furia.
combo at least. Come on.
Spirit or Furia or some team like from the outside if they get on a
You know
roll
who
again,
I want?
right?
You
Like
know who
that-
I want to win it? Is G2. I would love to
Why?
see G2 win Pro League. I really
Why?
like this team. I really like this
Yeah,
G2
me
team
too.
a
But
lot.
they don't have consistency. They have
Yeah,
the
but-
opposite. Like
Okay, you know, we got to give them some time to get there. You know, they're not. It's still
They've
pretty
had-
new
they've had
in this
6
whole
months.
situation.
they've had 8 months now.
Has this lineup been together 8 months?
Yeah,
No
coming out of the
way.
tournament
Yeah.
break.
Has
Yeah.
it? Holy shit!
Yep.
When did that happen?
Well, 8 months.
7
ago.
months. 7 months. Everyone, calm down.
Wow, a month. That's a,
No,
such
but
a huge
I would.
difference.
I would like to see them. I would like to see them do well. I like Hunter as an IGL. You know, I think this team, the G2 team, if you pinpoint like what's going to make or break this team by the major, it's going to be MongolZ and Sunpius. Sunpius, can you get some swagger back into the opping consistently? MongolZ,
Yeah, but I'm talking about EPL, Jason.
I know. I'm just bringing up what I think. I think G2 would be a cool team to see hit a peak. If you have like MongolZ playing really well, Heavy God playing really well, Sunpius getting back into the swing of things as an opper. I think that's a really cool core with an IGL Hunter who I think is going to get better and is going to be a fun IGL to watch.
I'm going to say something crazy. If MongolZ didn't go home and kept practicing, I might have them as one of the 3 teams I think could win the whole thing.
Ooh, sure. Well, online they play a super aggressive fucking.
No, but
Counter-Strike.
look, Yanko's bang on with the point about their map pool getting exploited, but I think here teams aren't able to put pressure on the map pool with no vitality here. So, like, obviously, if I go through each individual matchups, I might find one where I'm like, oh, these guys are always going to win this map against them. But when I think about it just like, you know, quietly, in terms of the teams they're going up against and the problems those teams have. If they were stayed practicing, I'd give them a shot. I'd give them a shot to win the thing. Like I agree with the furious spirit. I think I have to throw MongolZ in, regardless of what I think about the way the team present themselves. That doesn't take away from their counter.
Mongols have a bigger chance than MongolZ has.
Well, MongolZ would probably be
I think
up
also
there with,
at this point, sorry,
right.
at this point, it's not even just hating for MongolZ because it's whatever. It's just, I think, the rumors of them making a roster change that never happened. I think that's also weakened the bonds of the team from the inside, right? Like now they're just sort of, they're professionals, they're going through it, right? Like I think they don't believe what they're saying, where we're just a couple of percentage points close, and if we find that, we're gonna win. I don't think they believe that. I think they know they're a really good team. I think they know they're going to be making playoffs and all this stuff, but I don't think they have it in them to sort of go all the way. I think you'll see them fall apart at the seams more often than you did, because when someone wanted to leave or someone was supposed to be removed from the team, right? Like, how can you get over that to the level where you have the sort of togetherness that you need to have to lift a trophy? You're either looking, if you're a guy who wanted to leave, you're sort of dejected, you're going through the motions in the game, and if someone was supposed to be removed, then you're going through these games thinking, this guy is still making the same mistakes that's costing us games, fuck this, whatever it may be. So I don't think even with this field of play with no Vitality and no Falcons, that they will be the ones to sort of push through all this. Also, they got, if it was the old map pool, I might be able to give it to them, right? But they lost their best map. That shouldn't be understated. Like, they lost their best map with the change, and their previous permaban got brought back. So they're one of the teams that got hurt the most, alongside Navi, perhaps, with these changes. And I think I would be surprised. I mean, for Spirit, I don't want to say this is a must-win tournament, but they better make a deep run and better lose in a very close fashion, because you made significant changes. You decided to skip Cluj. Now you had extra time to practice. Vitality Falcons are not there. The two teams that have been beating you the most last year. Well, actually, I don't know. Does feel like they played Vitality a ton of times, perhaps in the first half of the year. So for them, this is, a really important tournament to do well at, even though it's just Pro League.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, look,
Yeah.
I think we'd just point out strengths and weaknesses of these teams, but I think we agree on a group of teams who are more likely to win it without Vitality there. And I would be surprised if it's I can get on board the Paravision thing, Jason, because of it, but the consistency needs to be.
It's a crazy one.
By being consistent.
It's not crazy.
It's not
completely crazy.
You want to know what's crazy?
Yeah.
You want to know what's crazy?
What's crazy?
FlyQuest are going to win fucking Draculand, Jason. They're going to take Draculand Season 5. They're going to run the gauntlet, Jason. They're going to run the gauntlet. They took down Hyperspirit 2-0. Next up, they're going up against Nexus, another hometown team with Ziello in the roster.
Sure.
They're gonna fucking take them down. Then they're going to be playing against probably, I don't know, Oromond or Bestia or Eternal Fire in the fucking next game. They're going to take that one. They're going to run this gauntlet, Jason.
Well, you think they're going to take down Bestia? That's got Thomasin's in that team.
Think they're going to beat Voro and Demka? I'm not sure.
Listen, man, this is tough. All right, this is a big tournament. There's lots of these. They're going on all over the place right now. Genomates versus Hotu.
Where are they set?
This is Romania.
Where are they set?
They'll be fine. They'll be fine with Asia invite. Okay. But what they're trying to do is get further up the rankings to get invites to big boy events, right?
Yes,
as far as major qualification goes, they're going to be fine. But right now they're sitting at 33. So yeah, if they're around that, if they're able to pick up some wins here, that'll be good for them.
They've been kind of out of the limelight since the major. They're on a winning streak out in regional competition. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight series victories for FlyQuest.
So
how's the eye test? How's the eye test? Have you seen the games?
Watching them today, individually, I think they might have let themselves down a little bit. Some moments where I think okay, Nedic should have got a kill there in a timing or a gap that he had and he didn't. So I'd say just the individual output maybe letting him down a little bit. But they were playing against just a local Romanian team. Yes. So they did win against Hyperspirit pretty easily. It was 13-6, 13-5. But just some of the moments I'm looking at them, it's like, okay, if you're getting punished by these guys, you're going to get punished by better teams.
This needs to be sharper if you want to beat the better teams.
Yeah. And also, like, I'm not expecting that you're 13-0 every game of Counter-Strike. That's ridiculous. These are still very convincing results, but it's just like little things. So see how they progress into the tournament. But cop this, right? I'm always patrolling VRS Twitter. And Udnud's been putting out stuff to do with 100 Thieves. So 100 Thieves, after their Roman Imperium Cup situation, they got the 159th was their VRS like starting point. And Udnud's put out what he would call like the Cinderella forecast. So he was conversing with Graham, and there was a bit of a hiccup regarding the bracket, but he got it there. So for 100 Thieves, right, they could get themselves into 25th in the VRS, right? No joke, off of this event. And this is what they'd have to do. Like, this is how the whole bracket would have to play out. They'd have to be Ents, right, in their opening game, which is going live right now. Then Cybershock will have had to have won their game, right? So then you get 100 Thieves versus Cybershock. They play against each other. Then you're assuming Heroic have won their opening 2 matches. It'll be 100 Thieves versus Heroic. They have to beat them. Then they go into the upper bracket final because it's double in bracket. Sure. They take on have to take on FlyQuest. All of these results are important for these points, right? They then have to beat FlyQuest. Then FlyQuest would have to lose to Heroic in the lower bracket final, and they'd have to beat Heroic again. But if they achieve all of that, they can be 25th in the world by VRS.
Holy shit. So you can make a pretty fucking quick leap.
Yeah, that's obviously all those results have to go that way.
Exactly that way. Yeah. Isn't
that insane, right?
And they just lost Pistol against Sense on the first map, so it's over.
So, but look. This is essentially, you know, the 100 Thieves watch. We're seeing if they can do what NIP did, but quicker. Graham is looking to do this in one season, right?
So he gets planned this out too. You know he planned it out.
I imagine 25th is just going to be European based, right? I don't imagine it would be like global, but I'm not certain on that. Let me see if it says it in the tweet here. Standing. I'm going to assume. Wait, hold up. Here it is. There would be around 25th place on VRS. I guess maybe it is global. So if they make it to 25th global, they would still need to jump up a little bit more, I think, to guarantee to get a major spot.
Yeah,
because it's 17 from Europe, right? And they're going to have a European call.
But that wouldn't be a bad first season for a brand new fucking lineup, especially one with this many question marks.
Right, there are people out there on Polymarket, Jason, who think there's a 44% chance the 100 Thieves will qualify to a S-tier tournament by June 1. Now, I don't know how that's going to happen, right? Because if you look at the events that are out there, well, this is the thing. If you see them jumping up, if they qualify for the major, that is categorized as an S-tier tournament, right?
Yeah.
So, like, they would need to have all of these crazy results and then something else on top, I think, to make it. Rotterdam invites are out. They're not there. Bucharest invites are out already. Rio invites are out already. So Astana isn't. Fisher Playground's here, but is it happening? Is it not? They won't get a rival spot, I don't think. I'm pretty sure they won't get a rival spot. So the 8 teams. So by June 1, that would mean they would need to go to Astana. It won't be Atlanta because the invites are already out there, or CAC, and it would only be an S-tier event if other good
Can they
teams
still get into Astana? Yeah, I guess they could.
Astana haven't sent invites yet. They could. It seems unlikely. There is a European closed qualifier. I don't know if that started or not, but there's a European closed qualifier, so they could win that, and that would be their way to get in. But there is a 44% chance on Polymarket that people think that they could make an S-tier tournament. I don't think there's a chance. This is everything has to go perfectly.
Yeah, that is everything has to go according to plan with not a single deviation, not a single hiccup, not a single obstacle put in your path.
I just don't know. Does that mean the tournament has to happen by then, or they need to be qualified for one by then?
That's a good point.
It is.
Qualify to an S-tier tournament by June 1. Okay, yeah. So I guess I see what you're saying.
Does it count if it's they get into they get invited for bounty or something?
EWC or something like that? Okay. So
because there are some more events Commanders,
so that makes
a real log tournament that's
doable.
Also just at the cutoff. That has I think they've done it in a way where there's a good amount of LAN games where you would be able to get some nice VRS points.
EWS invites go out on June 1st. So that could be the one that determines it right there. They would have to be
21. It's on the day.
Yeah, so they'd have to be top 21 teams global, right, to get it.
This market
or they'd
will
have
resolve
to be top 4 Americas.
This market will resolve to yes if 100 Thieves CS2 roster qualifies for, i.e. participates in the main event group stage of any S-tier CS2 tournament that concludes by June 1st.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Oh, never
so
mind.
what I said isn't
No.
valid.
So they might
I don't think
qualify
they- I
by
don't- I don't
June
think
1st,
they'll-
but not by tournament play.
I don't think they'll make
Yeah,
it.
no, me either.
I don't think they
No,
make it.
probably not. But I mean,
But it is.
Is anyone excited?
They
Is anyone excited about this 100? Are you excited for 100 Thieves?
I'm interested from a VRS perspective because obviously Graham is very like locked into it. Obviously, the team needs to give results. Like we understand that's how VRS works. You have to get the results. But at the Roman Imperium Cup, they did beat NIP, right? And that was actually huge for their points there.
Yeah.
So they beat NIP. Then they had to play through just this open land portion of Dracula Season 5, but they get past the two teams there, Manor and Brew, and now they're taking on Ents. And again, Ents, I don't think any of us are hugely excited about Poddy, Netu, SDY, Krasnal, and Fiku. Like none of us are going, yeah, fuck yeah. But that's a team that if 100 Thieves get past, it's a benchmark that we can understand like where they're at. If they get past Heroic, who are still playing with a stand-in for Alcaran, surely they get Halzek, right? Get fucking Halzek on Heroic. That that could work.
Get Halzek on G2.
Like if they beat teams like Ents or they're close against Heroic or they beat FlyQuest, like it's helping us measure what expectation we should have for the team. And beating NIP early that's a good thing, right? Like that's a good. It's not.
I mean,
not nothing. It's not
beat him.
nothing to beat NIP.
You also got smoked by him 13-2 in the best of one, but yeah,
Yeah,
it
best
is
of
good.
ones, Jason.
Yeah. And then you lost to Bedboom.
You know how we feel about that.
You lost to Bedboom. We're glossing over that one. Dilladez, Artfrost, and old Boombla.
Yeah, but come on, man.
Up.
Like they're not nobody either. You know, like we're not just putting together a
yeah,
team
I'm
of
with you.
fucking commentator bums and playing. I'm like,
I actually think this Ents team should be able to give them some issues. Like that Ents team, like no one's excited about those names, but there's some talent on experience on that team that can cause you some problems. Yeah. You're getting like stress tested early on by just talented players.
Yeah, and seeing like if there is any stuff, like we'll get to see players like Poi and Sierra playing against, like if they are actually going to be star players or they're going to be a big enough engine for this 100 Thieves car,
do you think
then we'll see their level of output against these names.
Do you think it's more important that those guys become engines for this team? Those like young guys deliver and become kind of star players, Poi and Sierra and Agile? Or do you think it's more important to have the experienced guys like Rain and Device kind of delivering in their roles and Device picking back up his op game, Rain like developing as an IGL?
I don't think you're getting a lot out of the Device, to be honest with you. I think you're getting like a good AWPer who's going to do his role and can contribute and set up players. I don't think like we're going to see him taking over games. Will be the reason they beat, probably.
Oh, it's so sad.
Well,
that's going to be weird.
I don't know. Like, okay, let me ask you this question, and if you give me an answer that is. What do you think? It's Magis? Like, you think Magis plays again?
I think so.
I think he does.
Okay, well then, if Magis plays again, then Device could play again.
But I don't think Magis.
What do you mean again? He's already playing.
Yeah, but after this team.
After this team, I'm not so sure.
I think Magisk is going to have one more stint in like a tier 2 team, and then we'll see how that goes. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where Magisk's career is at. I think.
For Device, it's like he's not going to go, like, I don't think he's good enough to be on a tier 1 team as an AWPer, which sounds crazy to say when you have guys like Torji around and Wonderful and Brokey, right? But would you put Device on any of those teams? Probably not right now, especially when you add his availability problems at times, right? And then the second thing is, I don't see him as a grinder that's going to take a step down and play in a tier 2 team or a young team or anything like that. 100 Thieves is kind of like that, but I think at 100 Thieves he commands a high salary, so that's why he's doing it. Like, but if he had to go to somewhere else after this for a lower salary,
probably not do it.
I think
there's a lot of work.
I think he's just like he hangs it up, you know, because he did that IGL stint. Didn't seem like it led to anything really of him transitioning to that full time at some point. But you never know, Chad. Like you pointed out before, if he wasn't smart with his money, maybe he needs that paycheck coming in and he'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah, there's a lot of different motivating factors for people to do things, right, that we're not privy to. So that's also half of like, you know, when you're weighing up these things, we don't really know the inner workings of these people and stuff. So that does make it a little bit more difficult to get to the bottom of. But yeah, I don't know. The 100 Thieves project for me overall, just interesting to monitor. I want to see teams who are showing how not easy, but how to navigate the VRS. And I just like seeing all of these lands that have a decent quality. Like I was watching the FlyQuest game before, and that was on the B stream, and I was able to watch the game. I was able to see what was happening. Right, like there's so many of these events now. It's pretty cool. I think that it's a move in the right direction.
One team that's not interesting to follow, but they did make a change is 3D Match.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up in a similar vein. All right, there we go.
And out of anything that they could change, they bench body, bring in Misuta, a name we haven't heard for a while, and they also changed the coaches. They brought back their old coach, and they swapped the IGL back to Maka. That was the latest news.
Interesting.
Is it?
Not really, no.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Do you think they're going to do any better?
Give it a little bit of spice.
Gatekeeper team.
I think the NBA, the NBK addition of the coaching staff is cool. Yeah, sorry, I just
gonna hit him with that slam dunk in the NBA where he's playing with that round
ball.
Whamma
lamma ding dong.
Man, he's passed that ball and he's inside the D. He's got a layup. It's an alley-oop in the NBA. That's the National Basketball League. That's the NBL.
Chad, how old is Misuta?
I don't know, fucking 27.
He's got to be
23, bro.
No,
I feel like
he's
been
not.
Forever.
He's not 23.
Yeah, he's 23, man. You guys have written him off way too soon. He was on foot for a little bit, and then they got Loungs for him.
Mate, that's such a pump fake by Yanko there, bro. Like he's playing from he's playing from end to end on this court of the National Basketball Association.
Wait, that would mean he was 17
when he was 17.
When I don't even remember knowing that at the time.
This is it, guys. You know, they get you. It's you see some of these young talented players, they come in and they're not given the talent that you thought they would, Jason. That's the donk delusion.
Yeah, apparently. It is kind of crazy.
Delusion.
I think about this once in a while with Device, because Device
Misuta?
No, Device is 30 as well, but like when he was playing, like starting out in like the old Danish lineups that were just like eternally second place.
16,
he was like 17, 18. I always fucking forget that shit. That's crazy.
And that's why, Jason, we're not giving up hope on Mouse. It's still possible. It's still possible they could turn the corner, especially if they stay together with this roster forever. I think there's a chance.
They should never make a roster change. It's going to turn around any moment now.
I did put a thing in the Discord the other day. This was on the way home when I was at the airport, and I asked for people to give questions that were somewhat interesting. And I'm not sure if we got any that were actually somewhat interesting.
There were a lot of questions.
There were, but people asked the ones that they're just about like team stuff. And I get what I was looking for was more like off-brand, maybe things that are a little less, hey, create like this best roster. Because that's always, for me, it's not a game based in reality. So it's not such a fun game. But what do we got here? Let's have a look. I should have prepared this like Jason did with that video. It was much better when Jason was ready to go.
When I was on Johnny on the spot. Well, yeah. I guess this is you, so it's what's interesting to you. But I know this one's could kind of take us to cool places.
This is an interesting one. What goes into making an event prestigious? How many years do PGL need to run Astana/Cluj to cement them as prestige events? That's an interesting one. We also didn't do the bingo card of the community talking about crowd cheating and booths and all that stuff. Like we got to tick those off. They have to go. That's an interesting question about the prestige event. Like what has to happen for something to become a prestige event? I think that's an interesting question. Does anyone have any thoughts?
I think the first place that I would take it to is like on some level, I feel like becoming a prestigious event, like this is probably the eternal headache of people in ESL and Blast and everything like that. But I think it sometimes just like happens naturally. I feel like what you can kind of do is set the conditions for something to feel epic, but like at the end of the day,
consistency of time and attendance. Like if I look at one that was starting to rally that way, it would have been Copenhagen with the Royal Arena, right? But but that felt less in terms of attendance.
Well, they kind of like self-sabotaged that one over the years. I feel like they were starting to go away from it towards the end. Well, they shut it down themselves. I think it got to the point
they were self-sabotaging.
We were on this podcast saying this event is now kind of hitting that status of being like a prestigious event. Finally, it's taken like 4 or 5 years, and then they shut it down. Like that feels like a self-sabotage.
I think they shut it down because the live viewership was getting less and less. Right? They had to scale down the amount of
sell enough tickets.
Yeah, I don't think they self-sabotaged. I think the interest in the region dried up. That's what I think happened there. So it's
Astralis
like
got shit, so the event stopped being exciting.
Well, that could be a correlation, right? Because we knew that the fans were very diehard, which is fine. Yeah. They're your countrymen. I get it. It's
but like
it's all good.
We talk about it in the context of our job. I know ESL people talk about it in the context of some of their positions as well. Like at the end of the day, like you can't control the games, and like incredible games are going to do the best thing ever at making an event.
That's kind of the
And
point,
dude,
though.
also
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
that's
Cologne
what I
and
mean.
Cattle
Yeah, go on.
were Cologne and Cattle were majors early on, and then they transitioned into standalone events, right? So you have players who've been around for ages, right, trying to lift that trophy. The story with Apex not being able to do it, with Carrigan, finally getting it done in 2022. So there's a lot that goes into it, really. It's not as simple as have a big arena that you fill up and run it for 5 years. And then after 5 years, we'll say it's a prestigious event, right? I think
that's the
I don't
base, though,
know.
don't you? If you can
Those are
consistently,
some of the bare
yeah,
minimums. Like, for example, for Cluj, it's tricky because it's not a huge arena.
it's
Like
true.
like even when it's sold out, it's not like a ton of people. You don't get the same sort of roar that you do when you're in the Lanxess or when you were in the Spodek, especially now in Krakow where it's bigger, right? Astana probably has a bit more potential for it in that sense. But then again, you can't have the best teams not being there and skipping that tournament. Like that's something that like no one's going to skip Krakow, no one's going to skip Cologne. Like people want to be at those events, they really want to win them. Those are like the cool ones to play in the calendar that really mean a lot to the players and so on and so on. So I think it's just something where, as you said, has to happen organically, but that's going to be tough. Like the minimum is have a big arena and that it's full and have the best teams there. Like those are the things that you need to have. It cannot become that without those three ingredients.
This is the base, and then what you're saying, Jason, about the quality of the games, whatever, you can't control. So there has to be some legendary matches that get played there in terms of like games like best of fives or semifinals that really deliver. And
you don't get legendary matches if you don't get the best teams.
But then if you like can have a couple years there where the matches are hard and intense, and it's in a period of time where something big's happening for the scene too, right? Like if it was like, oh, such and such team defended it for a couple of years in a row, or MongolZ won on home soil in Astana, these things would probably all start to lend itself to the lore of these locations and that. But so you need all those elements.
That gives you that first step that you need to build upon. I think that's like the great thing that ESL's done over the years, because I think if you look at like Katowice and even Cologne to an extent, but like I feel like they almost kind of like cheated themselves in early on to being prestigious, like by default. Like Katowice in the early days of esports was like basically every game's world championship, right? They had StarCraft, they had League of Legends was there for a while, they had the big trade show, so it was a huge industry event as well, which made that all of a sudden an event that was going to have a shit ton of attention on it from every single angle. Counter-Strike, non-Counter-Strike, public, like within the scene, outside the scene, everything was already going to be there. And then you kind of build upon that as you took other games away. Cologne, the first big event we ever had in Counter-Strike in CSGO in 2015, an arena that we'd never seen at Counter-Strike in the scale of a building that big before. So that automatically is going to blow everyone's socks off. And then it was a major, and then it had great games as well. But the continuation of developing that whole Cologne event is really like the incredible work that ESL did of continuing to build upon the theme of the cathedral, which, by the way, was just an offhand comment from Red Eye while he was stage hosting that they latched onto and kind of built that theme. And now that allows the audience to latch onto it as well. You build up a great trophy moment, a great walkout, a great environment for the players. And now all of a sudden the players see this and like, I fucking want to win this event because I want to be in front of 15,000 fans in the middle of that center stage lifting that fucking cup.
There's definitely more things today, like you're saying, than there used to be to have to play into it, right? Like you need to make sure that there is enough stuff around it. But yeah, like if you strip it back, there's the frills that you're discussing, and then there's the strip back base that Yanko was pointing out, and you need all of those things. You're not getting there without all of it. So
you don't just start an event and be like, this is fucking prestigious.
Yeah. There was one here, Yanko. You actually answered this one. It was about the idea of having the HUD show when the mic's alive. This is something so that when talking to MC about HUD stuff that we wanted to do, it wouldn't be on the screen all the time, but it could be something that we pop in like a mid-round 3v3, like when there's a lull. So it wouldn't be there like when all 10 players are live leaving spawn or whatever, but something that could pop up in more mid-round situations to see who's doing a lot of talking and kind of coming up with the plan in the mid round. So I think like if it's toggleable, that could be something that's cool.
Yeah, that's a good compromise. So it doesn't overwhelm the HUD, because you already have stuff flashing which gun he has, or if you're shooting or not, like all these different things. But in those moments, yeah, it might be cool. See who's like guiding the team in those situations.
Yeah, what else do we got here? Is there a stigma on talent who have worked on other titles, multiple esports titles? Is there a benefit to someone who would want to pursue work within CS to go look for opportunities to work in esports outside of the game experience? I think that question there is probably like depending on the role that you're playing. So say if you're like a stage host or an interviewer, or maybe even a desk host to some degree, or even a play-by-play commentator. I think like doing other games and stuff, skills are transferable. But I think if you're doing like the color commentary role or an analyst role, if you're doing other things, you must have a giga brain to be able to be like I couldn't imagine having to think about another game while I'm already thinking about all the things with this game and the scene and the players and the strategy and I don't think I would have the capacity to do that. So I would imagine it'd be detrimental for more like in-depth analytical things. But you've seen play-by-play commentators do other games before, right? And obviously they still need to have a significant understanding. That's not to discredit any of that. It's just
it also
theirs gets to be a little bit more surface.
It also depends on the kind of event you'd go do as a talent from a different game as well, right? Like I could never go in and cast the fucking world championship of Call of Duty, but I've gone to TwitchCon and I've casted a streamer competition of Call of Duty without it knowing anything about the game, you know? Like you could pull it off. But
you'll get that back, Jason. We know.
Yeah, I do. But I think also like I don't think there's actually, I don't know if you guys would agree with this or disagree with this. I actually don't necessarily think there's like a huge value to having on-air broadcast experience as a broadcast talent from other games.
Not with what we're doing, I don't think. But that's why I'm saying that it could be if you are a play-by-play commentator or something, though.
Right, but I don't think any TO would hire like someone from a different game and say, oh, they've been on like 50 of these broadcasts. That's huge, over hiring a streamer or a content creator.
But it depends on like what scale you're talking about, right? Like if we're talking about someone who is getting into a very low end of something and is doing things for, I don't know, they cast a best of 3 and they get $50 for the day and they do 4 best of 3s or something, right? Like sounds crazy to think of with what we do, but maybe that's the way in for someone. And if it means they have to go and cast like, I don't know, some new title to get reps in and be on the mic and like, and do those things and you know, become comfortable with it. I think there's no reason you couldn't or shouldn't or
no. I'm not trying to get you to stop. The reps are great. Get the experience, but I don't think like an experience on a League of Legends official broadcast is going to be a huge sell to coming and working on like a Counter-Strike broadcast.
Well, it does like I get this question sometimes. People will send me an email or they ask me in person and they're like, hey, like, so how can you give me advice on how to get into this thing? And I always find it such a hard question to answer because I have to say, like, from my perspective,
we're the worst people to ask that question to. We're the worst people to ask that question to.
I'm like, yeah, I was playing pro, and then when I stopped playing pro, I got an opportunity to go try the analyst desk, and that's where it started. It's like I didn't follow a path that makes sense to get to this point, right? Like I didn't work in production, and then from production go to this or go to that. Like I can't. I struggle to give people advice in that elk. So it's a weird one.
I think if you want to answer that question realistically, the two people you should look at to get into casting at this day and age is someone like, well, the one person I would point out would be Launders. It's like starting your YouTube channel, build an audience of the content you're creating, use that audience to leverage yourself into more and more works on the low end, and then kind of grind up through the ladder like that. That's starting the content and building a fan base that's going to comment when you're on events and give your name out there on social media and on Reddit. That's huge. So, I mean, I think that's really the way these days is you have to start by becoming a content creator, getting ingrained in the community, streaming, and use that kind of personality recognition to.
It feels tough to break in though, doesn't it? Like, not that I disagree with you. It just feels like when there's stuff on the internet, for it to get picked up and be interesting to people, like,
yes,
it's weird. You never know what the thing is that people are going to be gravitating towards at any given time. So
welcome to the battle for people's attention.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to be pointing out, oh wow, look at this revelation of people. It's just that's the harsh reality of it. Is it's tough to know like, what's going to resonate with the audience.
You could also never get into commentary the way Scrawny did it, for instance, either. Like Scrawny just had a clip of him casting a random matchmaking game to the front page of Reddit, and that blew up to a degree where he got hired for a job, and then he just went from there. Like that's not going to happen, really.
Yeah, well, not these days, right?
Yep.
But I think that with these smaller lands, just to like connect the conversation back that we were seeing, that you will see people have opportunities to be casting and somewhat notable teams too, right? Mm-hmm. Like imagine you're a caster now and you're at Draculand and you get to cast Device and Rain. That's pretty cool.
You'd never happen
Like,
7-8 years ago. You'd never see those teams.
Yeah, so there is that angle too. So I guess now that there's more small lands than ever, and if people are putting effort in, if it means you are doing it for free to get those reps in, it's probably where you have to start, right? So yeah, I don't know.
It's a tough grind. It's a tough grind, and I don't have a good answer on the
is.
route you have to take.
Maybe you can find a job as an aura coach for Mouse. That's why I disagreed with your tweet, Chad, when you said the thing about, I'm liking that I see this from Mao or from Torji when he was talking shit after that one game, right?
I didn't say anything. I just sent a GIF. I like to keep the Twitter stuff.
Yeah, it feels
ambiguous.
like it was always it's like forced, and he's like trying to do it, like, and it's just kind of cringe, to be honest. Like watching it unfold, you can see he's uncomfortable as he's doing it. For some guys, it's just like you just don't have it in you. Just be respectful, be who you are. It sucks for them that they're in that position in which they are, but he only made it worse.
I think he was being who he was, though. Like I don't think he was forcing it. I think that's why it was so meek, is because like Cycrin said it in the interview the next day. He's like, some of the players are fed up, and I imagine they are fed up because I just put myself in the position of they're just playing Counter-Strike, right? Like they are somehow disliked and booed everywhere based off of just not winning trophies and not being very interesting people. That's literally it.
They were booed because they played Na'Vi. That's why they were booed.
But it's not the first time they're booed, bro. Like we can't sit here and act like that's just a once-off thing. Like this isn't. They're not fan favorites. They're not a team that people are out there barracking for. Like you see a couple of Mao's jerseys around. There are Mao's fans, but this is why I think that he was being genuine. I think he was fed up. Like I'd be fed up. I'd be pissed off if all the time you're fucking. Right, you're doing this gig.
Maybe channel some of that anger into the server. How's that? Maybe you win some games. Maybe you win a couple of trophies and you have fans. Why would anyone cheer for them?
Well, but this is my point. Like,
why would you be a fan of Mouse? Over some other teams?
But this is
what have they done in the last 3 years to?
There's a lot of teams who don't win trophies at the moment who have more fans than them. People are going to cheer for a whole bunch of teams. Like that's not really like a fair comparison in the Vitality era. There's hardly any teams who are really winning. Right, but MongolZ have a heap of fans. They're not winning, right? But they're a nationality-based team, so there's their identity, right? Like, this is the thing. I would be pissed off if I was them, and I don't have a problem with them expressing that they're pissed off. I just think if you are going to let the mask slip and be like, yeah, like fuck you guys, then stick to it. Don't walk it back. And he walked it back in the interview with HLTV, and I don't think he should have done that.
Well, I mean, it's just fun. It's just like. I can't, like, it's hilarious to me. I'm just looking at like some of the recent Mouse news, and after Krakow Exertion or during Krakow Exertion gives an interview where it's much easier for us to be comfortable on stage. And then you have an interview from 2 days ago of Torji saying it got to me every time the camera was on me. I heard the boos. So you're not comfortable on stage.
It's also this, I think it's also this shit, man, where like Exertion is also doing this at Krakow where he's saying our Dust 2 is super strong. Teams keep picking it against us. They think it's a weakness.
They say what they think they should say. They don't actually say what they, like,
Exactly. But it's like,
but that's also how you don't get fans.
Apex come on. Then you have Apex come on and say, well, actually, we don't think their Dust 2 is good. We just think the teams that they play that lost fucked up, like sort of. And then they beat them, 13-2 or 13-5 or something on Dust 2, right? So it's just like, it's too much trying to play these games and everything where you're not there, Like you're not at the level where these games you play and will fool anyone or do anything for you.
Media blackout. That's what they do. Don't say anything good. Don't say anything bad. Don't do any content. Don't do any interviews. Don't do anything. Just don't say anything. Just go and play and do that. That's it. We've solved it. We don't want them to talk shit. We don't want them to be respectful because no matter what they do, people aren't going to be cheering for them.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they can be respectful. Like that's not a problem. I'm just saying don't try too hard to be someone you're not. That's all there is to it, right? They've always been this happy
Do you think that they are really respectful? Do you think that they're not pissed off? Like, do you think that this team go into all they do, Yanko, they go in and they play their favorite video game on stage and play it the best they can. And every time they go into a place, people are moaning that they're there or they're booing them. Like, with that in mind, you'd have to think they're pissed off.
Why do they care?
Because
why do they care that we say on the desert we hate to see them there again and we hate this matchup and we don't want to see them play Vitality? What does that concern them? It's up to them to change the narrative, not to us, not on us.
Yeah, but I still think that's like you're not answering the question. If that was the dialogue, all you're saying is why should they care? But they obviously do care. We know it's getting to them. Like it's literally in the messaging.
That's one of your problems then.
But if they do,
it's getting
if they
to
do
you, then it's a
care,
problem.
okay. So you've acknowledged they do care, right? If they do care,
Let's say they care.
but they're saying it in the interviews that they care.
All right, Chad. They care.
Okay, so if they do care and they are pissed off, shouldn't they be how they feel? Which is pissed off.
I don't know if you care about what's happening.
But they do care. We've
pissed
acknowledged
off
that
about
they
it.
care.
No. Okay. That's not the point of what I'm trying to say. I'm saying why do things that will antagonize people more and make them cheer against you more and boo
Because
you
no
more?
matter what they do,
If you're caring about it, so then don't antagonize
Does
them further.
merely existing
Just go
count
out
as
there,
doing
say,
something?
We faced a better team today. Thank you guys for the cheers. You know, see you at the next one. We'll keep fighting. We'll keep
Yeah, but
trying.
we
I
don't like
believe
that
I'll
either.
believe we'll get there one day. Just say that and walk away, man. It's not hard.
But we just
it's a
said
media obligation.
we just said they say what they think they should say, and you're saying they should just say what we think they should say.
Yes.
So then, what are they meant to do?
Just not try to spice it up, right? Just go out there and say, okay,
I can't
people
believe
are testing us on Dust
this is
too.
where the whole thing led
we
to.
put work on the map.
Jason, I need you to
It's
test me
going
here.
well.
I need you to. Am I losing my mind? Is my logic not logical? It's okay if it isn't logical.
No,
I just need to know because I feel like I'm losing. Am I making sense in where I'm going, or am I not making sense at all?
You're making sense with where you're going. I like
Okay.
it. Yeah.
No, because it doesn't mean I'm right.
Yanko's just a
I'm
tough
just
nut to crack,
exploring
man.
the thought.
He's got his
I'm just
Serbian wall up
exploring
in
the
front of you.
thought.
There's no access here. He's not giving you an inch.
I just think be pissed off. You want to be pissed off, be pissed off. That's what I think.
Okay, you can be pissed off. You don't have to tell the crowd to go fuck themselves.
Why not?
Because that's disrespectful. You're not being like, you're not just being pissed off. Like there's a line.
Yeah, but there's a level. Okay, do we acknowledge?
Especially for someone like fucking Torji. Give me a break. If it were Apex, you wouldn't blink. You wouldn't bat an eye. Why? Because that's who he is. Because he flipped
Apex
off
has told the crowd to
walking
fuck
out
off.
in the grand final of a major. Who does that?
But he has, he'll hear them, they'll be yelling, fuck you, Apex. And we know that comes from a place of love, but that got turned into a thing from a place of love, right? Because of the way that he was with it. But we've had him on the mic and they're going, fuck you, Apex. And he's going, fuck you guys.
Boys.
We've seen this Jason, it's showmanship.
Yeah, dude, I love that Torji did it. I fucking love it, to be honest with you.
I hate he walked it back, though.
I hate he walked it back, but I love that he did it.
I hate he walked it back.
And I mean,
have to
I'm not
go
going to
at it.
sit here and be critical about it either, ever, because we ask for players to show this kind of emotion. We ask for them to give us what they're feeling in the moment. We've been wanting more of that out of the players. So I fucking loved it. I thought it was great. Now you got
Boys, I have bad news. I have the heart
100
out. I
Thieves
have
is
to
down
go
6-1?
record. No, that's not the bad news. I got the heart out. I have to go and record
Okay.
Feed the Trolls.
Cool.
I can
Yeah.
I can leave you 2
They're
here to
actually
one.
down 7-1.
No. We could just say we did
Whatever, Chad, they
147
can wait.
minutes. We could say our goodbyes. We did good. We did
Well,
really good today.
you knew I had a heart out, right? Everyone's known
Yeah.
about these heart. I've been very clear with my schedule, everybody.
I'm happy
All
about
right.
your heart out as well. Heart out.
Hey, it's not every day you have a heart out.
Heart
Sometimes
out.
sometimes you have a.
Gets rarer with the years.
Did we do it? Did we do the thing?
I think we did the thing. Yeah.
All
And
right.
this is
We're
nice
gonna
for
see
me
each
because I
other
get
in a
edit.
couple
You guys, we're
days.
gonna see each other a couple days. Blah blah blah. But
Yeah, we'll do the in-person ones. They're always so much better, right, guys?
Nobody watches them. They hate the in-person ones. They
Yeah.
like the 3-box.
Please
Everyone
watch
likes
those
the
as
3
well.
Yanko.
box.
Thank you.
do you need me to order you a stand for your microphone
Catan.
on Amazon?
Oh.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, I leave at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get here same day delivery. We'll find out.
Gee, hell.
You
All
have
right, I
you
have
have the
to
same
leave.
microphone as me. Yeah, see you later, Chad. You have the same.
Goodbye.
Yeah, but